This is a poem about the time of Henry VIII, and I tell it from the mind of Jane Boleyn, the Countess of Rochford. Yet another Boleyn girl. I was born Jane Parker in a position of great wealth. I would not be remembered, except that by stealth I caused my husband and sister-in-law to be beheaded and have their heads roll on the floor. Let me explain the name you know me by, Lady Rochford or Jane Boleyn. Oh my! You sigh, the sad, mad woman of the court of Henry VIII, that gross, fat, diseased defender of the faith. Now I came to court, and wealth and power sought. I did not know back then how Henry could make life fraught. He was athletic, handsome and so fine, I thought he would mature like fine wine, not rot like a dead corpse, who doth with his madness everything warp. I first served the virtuous Catherine of Aragon, who made her marriage drag on and on. I went with her to France, and on the field of the cloth of gold did dance. Her stubbornness and virtue did bring her life end with a skid, as she died in loneliness and poverty, in conditions that were cold and dirty. Now I saw George Boleyn from afar. He was glamorous, handsome, to me a star. I persuaded my father a marriage to arrange. That he never loved me was tragic and strange. He loved his sister, who became a queen, and to me was dismissive, always mean. He preferred the company of many a pretty young lad. Can you imagine how that made me feel so bad? Now Henry commenced on his mad route, sacking monasteries, making sure that he and his cronies were beneficiaries. He started executing his former friends. Will this nightmare never have ends? By the end we had More, Cromwell, Fisher and Wolsey die. He has no loyalties, and his wives cannot stand by. I saw him court the whore, Mary Boleyn. She was clever and made no demands, so she was able to walk away with a pension and shake hands. Then Anne came along, manipulative and grand. She entranced my husband and had many demand. On his time he loved her so fine. I wanted his love, not his contempt, to be mine. Anne made Henry wait, but met her fate when producing miscarriages and a little girl. Then I was able to get revenge by letting my hate unfurl. I gave the authorities evidence of their love. I made it incest, swore on heavens above. They went to the block, and it did not me shock. I had to leave the court, and financial security sought. Wolsey it me brought. Then I returned to serve Queen Jane, with her Catholicism a bore and a pain. She died in childbirth with misery and no mirth. I am certain that Henry would have sent her for the chop, and that her head would have plopped, if it was not for the birth of a legitimate son, in his diseased case, the only one. Then came the plain or ugly Anne of Cleves, a Flanders mare that did not please. What a lucky lady was she! The wisest of them all, lived, pensioned and free. Then came the randy simpleton Catherine Howard, who had so much fun. I served her well. Under her spell I fell. I helped her out, got caught out. Thomas Culpepper I let in her bed, even though to a murderous king she was wed. Now I wait in her cell while she practices her end, practices kneeling at the block. I will die, 'cause I was her friend. As the time draws in, I hear the dead Boleyns at me they shout. I want to get their voices out of my head. I wish I had not him wed. I have seen Henry smile at Catherine Parr. He hopes that she will go far, maybe his next bride, to fear she will be open wide. I wonder if she will survive. Will she, when he dies, be alive? I see him glancing at the poet Surrey, that would set my heart a flurry. Will he be the last victim of Henry VIII? I would not expect him to survive, upon my faith.